A throne cloaked in magic. Imagine a king whose every movement was said to bend reality itself. A ruler so feared, so revered, that his people believed he held the power to summon storms, command the spirits of the ancestors, and see into the hidden hearts of men. In the forests of West Africa, in the land that is now southern Nigeria, there existed such a king, the Oba of Benin. His throne was not merely political, it was mystical, and the kingdom he ruled was unlike any other the world had seen. While Europe stumbled through its medieval darkness, Benin rose like a jewel, gleaming with artistry, wealth, and supernatural authority. Its capital was said to be one of the most magnificent cities on earth, with vast walls stretching longer than the Great Wall of China, and streets so wide and clean that Portuguese explorers were left in awe. But at the center of it all stood the Oba, a man cloaked not only in coral and bronze, but also in whispers of magic. This is the story of the Kingdom of Benin and the Oba-S. Magical powers, a tale of divine kingship, spiritual authority, artistic brilliance, foreign encounters, colonial tragedy, and the enduring legacy of one of Africa's greatest civilizations, the birth of a kingdom. From Igbo to Benin, the origins of Benin stretch back over 1,000 years. Before it became the glittering empire that stunned Europeans, the land was known as Igbo, inhabited by the Edo people. They were skilled farmers, hunters, and traders, governed at first by local chiefs called Ojis. These early rulers set the foundations of organized political life in the region, but their power was fragmented, and the land often slipped into chaos. Legend tells us that the Edo people, weary of disorder, sought a divine king to unify them. Their pleas reached Ife, the spiritual heartland of the Yoruba people, where Oduduwa's descendants reigned. From there, a prince named Oranmiyan traveled to Benin to assume the throne. He fathered a son, Uika I, who became the first true Oba of Benin around the 13th century. With Uika, a new era dawned. The Obaha was not just a political leader, he was a sacred figure. Believed to be descended from the gods, his word was low, his body untouchable, his power both earthly and mystical. Over the centuries, successive Obus expanded the kingdom, building it into a formidable state whose authority radiated across West Africa. The Oba's mystical authority. The Oba of Benin was no ordinary monarch. He was seen as a living god, chosen by the spirits, an intermediary between the people and the divine. His spiritual powers were believed to include control of rain and storms. It was whispered that the Oba could summon rain during droughts or call down thunder on his enemies. His priests performed rituals to align the kingdom with cosmic forces, the power of sight. The Oba was said to see beyond the physical world, reading the hearts of men, knowing lies before they were spoken. Ancestral connection. Through elaborate rituals, the Oba communed with past rulers, drawing wisdom and strength from the lineage of the ancestors. The curse of the Oba. Disobedience to the Oba was not just treason, it was spiritual suicide. His curses were believed to ruin entire families for generations. No one could look directly at him without permission. To touch him was forbidden. Even his food was imbued with ritual protection, for it was believed enemies could poison him through spiritual means. But what truly set Benin apart was not only the mystical aura of the Oba, but how this authority was carved into art, architecture, and society. The Benin bronzes. Magic in metal. Perhaps the greatest symbol of the Oba's power was the Benin bronzes susans, of intricately cast plaques, masks, and statues created by the Royal Guild of Bronze Casters. These works of art were not mere decorations. They were spiritual conduits, binding the past to the present, the mortal world to the spirit world. Each bronze depicted scenes of obus, warriors, and ceremonies, recording history while also radiating sacred power. The mosques, especially the famous Idia Mosque, were believed to embody mystical protection. The gleaming bronze heads of past kings were used in rituals to ensure the prosperity of the land. Coral beads, symbols of the sea and divine authority, adorned the Oba's image in the bronzes, reinforcing his sacred nature. To the Edo people, these bronzes were more than art. They were living proof that their Oba was touched by magic. the city of Benin, walls, roads, and mystical order. The kingdom's capital, often simply called Benin City, was a marvel. Its walls stretched for thousands of miles, forming one of the largest man-made earthworks in history, far surpassing even the walls of medieval Europe. Inside the city, wide streets were laid out in perfect order, radiating from the Oba's palace like veins from a heart. European explorers in the 5th, 10th, and 16th centuries described the city as greater than Lisbon and praised its cleanliness, organization, and grandeur. The Oba's palace was the centerpiece, a sprawling complex filled with courtyards, shrines, and carved pillars. But this order was not merely practical, it was mystical. The city's layout reflected cosmic balance. Every road, every shrine, every gate was aligned with spiritual principles. The city itself was seen as a sacred space, a physical extension of the Oba's power. The military might of Benin, the Oba's authority extended beyond spiritual realms. Benin was a warrior kingdom, feared for its disciplined army and military strategy. The Oba commanded regiments of soldiers who fought with spears, bows, and later firearms acquired through trade. But many believe the army's success was not just skill, but also supernatural protection. Before battles, the Oba's priests performed rituals to shield warriors with magic. The Oba himself was thought to curse enemies, ensuring their defeat. Benin's armies expanded the kingdom's influence, securing control over trade routes and neighboring territories. They also ensured the constant flow of tribute, slaves, ivory, and resources into Benin City. Encounters with Europe, the arrival of the Portuguese in the late 5th, 10th century, marked a turning point. They were stunned by the magnificence of Benin and quickly sought trade relations. Gold, ivory, and later slaves were exchanged for firearms, cloth, and luxury goods. To the Portuguese, the Oba appeared as both a king and a sorcerer. They marveled at his choral regalia, his strict court rituals, and the aura of fear surrounding him. Some even recorded tales of his witchcraft, interpreting his divine kingship through the lens of European superstition. As centuries passed, trade with Europeans deepened, but this connection would also sow the seeds of tragedy. The fall of Benin. 1897, punitive expedition by the 19th century. Tensions with the British had reached breaking point. The British sought to dominate trade and reduce the Oba's power. In 1897, after a British delegation was ambushed, accounts differ on who initiated it. The British launched the punitive expedition. Thousands of British soldiers stormed Benin City, burning it to the ground. The palace was destroyed, the people slaughtered, and the Oba von Ramwan Nagbaisi was captured and exiled. But perhaps the greatest theft was cultural. Thousands of Benin bronzes were looted and shipped to Europe. These masterpieces, imbued with spiritual power, ended up in museums and private collections across the world. The fall of Benin was not just a military defeat, it was the breaking of a mystical order, the shattering of a kingdom where magic and monarchy were intertwined. The legacy of the Oba's magical powers yet. Despite the destruction, the legacy of Benin lives on. The Oba's throne was eventually restored, though under colonial oversight. Today, the Oba of Benin remains a respected traditional ruler, his spiritual role enduring even in modern Nigeria. The stories of his magical powers still circle the tallies of Obas who vanished into thin air to escape enemies, who cursed traitors, who commanded nature itself. The bronzes, though scattered across the world, continue to bear witness to this legacy, their gleaming surfaces whispering of a time when kings ruled with divine fire. The kingdom of Benin stands as a reminder. Power is not always measured in armies or gold, but in the belief that a ruler is more than a man, that he is magic incarnate. The eternal Oba. As we reflect on the story of Benin, we must ask, what truly made the Oba powerful? Was it his army, his wealth, his city walls, or was it the collective belief of his people, the conviction that their king carried the force of the gods within him? In a world obsessed with material wealth, the Oba's power reminds us that authority is also spiritual, symbolic, and deeply cultural. And though the bronzes may sit in glass cases in London, Berlin, or New York, their spirit still belongs to Benin, to the people who cast them, and to the Obas who ruled through them. The kingdom of Benin is gone, but the magic of the Oba lives on in art, in legend, and in the eternal memory of Africa's history.